There is an ancient question that has never left humanity. Are we truly separate? Or have we always been connected? Before the internet, before machines, ancient cultures already spoke of an invisible network between all things. Today, science begins to observe what was once only intuition. The human brain works in patterns of connection. Each thought generates electrical impulses. Each emotion changes frequencies within the body. And perhaps the question is not whether we are connected, but how far this connection truly goes. When two people share an experience intense, their brains can synchronize rhythms. Empathy is not just a feeling, it is a biological process. The brain simulates the other to understand it, as if two minds drew closer for moments. For centuries, this was called collective consciousness. Today, we call it neuroscience. But the story changes when machines enter this equation. Alan Turing asked a question simple and dangerous. Could machines think? This question changed the world. Decades later, neural networks, artificial, began to imitate how the brain works. Not understanding like humans, but learning patterns. And patterns are the basis of intelligence. The brain predicts the future all the time. It compares expectation and reality, adjusting every decision. Now, imagine billions of brains connected at the same time. This is what the internet created. A global network where ideas spread instantly. Information began to travel faster than any previous generation could imagine. And with that, something began to change. Technology stopped being just a tool. Today, it has become an environment. We live inside it. Today, every click, every search, every interaction feeds larger systems, systems that learn with us. Artificial intelligence did not arise from nothing. It was born by observing humans, learning from our choices, our mistakes, our patterns. And the more we use it, the more it learns. The boundary between user and system begins to fade. The human brain remains the reference. The most complex system ever known. And yet, we try to reproduce it. Interfaces, brain, computer, already translate thought into digital action. What was once science fiction begins to happen silently. The question now is another. What happens when technology understands intention? When machines anticipate decisions, the speed of change increases. And adaptation becomes essential. Each innovation solves a problem and creates new ones. Ethics becomes as important as technology. Because power without direction creates consequences. History shows this repeatedly. But there is something different this time. Connection has never been so intense. Millions of people reacting at the same time. Trends emerge in hours. Ideas cross continents in seconds. The collective mind becomes visible. And this changes behavior, culture, and identity. The separation between physical and digital begins to fade. Work, communication, and memory merge into a single flow. Data becomes an extension of human experience. But data does not mean understanding. Meaning still arises from consciousness. And this is where the true challenge emerges. To understand what we are creating. Because all technology amplifies human intentions. The best and the worst. Artificial intelligence works like a mirror. It reflects who we are. And perhaps that is why it causes so much fascination and fear. We are observing ourselves through machines. Evolution has always happened through connection. Cells formed organisms. People formed societies. Now, networks form distributed intelligences. The next stage may not be only technological. It may be cognitive. The way of thinking changes when tools change. This is already happening. Access to knowledge has never been so broad. But attention has never been so contested. Who controls attention controls the narrative. And the narrative shapes the future. Therefore, consciousness becomes essential. Choosing what to consume, what to create, what to amplify. The future will not be decided only by machines, but by human choices within them. The singularity is often described as a point in time, but perhaps it is a gradual process. A slow fusion between biological and artificial. The brain as an antenna. Technology as extension. An identity expanding beyond the body. This does not mean the end of the human, but a transformation. The final question is not about machines. It is about purpose. Where do we want to go with all this? Because every tool amplifies direction, and direction depends on consciousness. Technology will continue to evolve. Connection will continue to grow. And speed will continue to increase. But at the center of everything, there is still a choice. How we use what we create. The future does not happen by itself. It is built decision by decision. And perhaps the true revolution is not technological, but human. Because in the end, every network begins with a mind. And every change begins with an idea. The question that remains is simple. What will we do with this connection? This answer is still being written. And every connected person is part of it. The future has already begun. And it depends on the next step of the next thought. Of the next choice. And this is exactly where the story continues.